everyone. Welcome to episode 80 of the Pop Collectors Alliance. It's a very Smeye World after all. I'm your host, Rick, as always, joined by my co-bearded co-host, Captain Strongbeard, Mr. Piper. We're on and back to our normal, regularly scheduled 1 o'clock in the morning recording session. How are we doing on this early Friday morning?
I have been packing for the past 5 days, and I'm so tired. I hate boxes. I hate the idea of moving. I just want to be done with it. Be done.
I think one thing that's very funny about you moving is that it is, and I've said this a couple times across our streams and other recordings, etc., is that when Piper says he's moving, it happens immediately. There's no honeymoon period. There's not like, oh, hey, we're moving. It's like, we're moving, we're packing up the house, and we're leaving.
Dude, I mean, like, I can't get cold feet. I'm just gonna make sure I do it. It's just, I mean, you think about it, like, okay, so say I'm gonna do something, and that thing might not be the smartest thing to do, but you're still gonna be like, I'm gonna do it. And then you think about it for a little while, and you're like, oh man, I shouldn't do that. I don't want that to happen. So just kicking the doors off and going.
But you're right. It's the right time, especially if you're like selling your house or something. You don't want the school year to start, whatever the school year looks like, because then you put yourself in a predicament where it's way harder to sell a house, even though I don't think you're going to have a problem at all.
No, man, that's the crazy thing. Like, the area that I'm in is like, everybody wants to move here for some reason. I don't know. It's like retired people, I think. And so the houses here, they don't stay on the market long. Like 2 days. Like 2 days is a long time on the market. So I'm not worried about that part. It's just the whole like anticipation. I can't say the word anticipation, it turns out, and anxiety about everything. Like I'm just really anxious. So that, and I would also like to go back to sleeping like normal hours. That would be great too.
Yeah, that would be great. People want to move to where you're at because of what's that family that remakes houses and puts barn doors on everything?
Branch Davidians?
No, not those guys. The people that raised all your property taxes down there.
Yeah, the Branch Davidians. They've infiltrated the local government. No, you're the Gaineses.
Yeah, the Gaineses. Everybody. That's why people want to move to that area. They think that they're going to come put barn doors on their houses.
Well, and shiplap. That's a word I learned recently.
Hey, you know what would do really well in your house? Barn doors and shiplap.
It's just wood. Just slap wood on everything, and then that raises the value of your house. Ricky, you just need to cover your entire house with just wood, like you're living in a shed.
You don't need. I'm like lemon grab. You don't need doors in your house. You only need barn doors. That annoys me because the reality of that is it's terrible. And 1, 2, you know what else annoys me? It automatically, for some reason, some weird reason, it reminds me of those guys where you see the Facebook videos. There's 2 Facebook videos that are just, they annoy the piss out of me. And it's one is like, we found this piece of wood floating in the river, and we are just going to fill it full of resin and what is that stuff? The plexiglass, or what is it called?
What? I know what resin is. I don't know.
Not resin, but I mean, maybe it is resin, but it's they take it and they mix it together, and they pour it over this to make a table. Like it fills in all the cracks, and they'll fill it in with like
polyurethane.
Yeah, something like that. And then the other guys are the guys that put like old wood on a spindle, and they like take their little chisel and they're like, I'm going to turn this tree trunk into a coffee mug.
Like you need a whole tree trunk for a coffee mug?
Yeah, exactly. It's like there was a cartoon when I was a kid, and it was showing like, I guess it was just some kind of like progressive cartoon, but it was like, look, this is how they make toothpicks. They take big redwood trees and they funnel it down to one toothpick.
was that like Ren and Stimpy or like Rocko's Modern Life?
It was one of them. I can't remember what it was, but I distinctly remember that happening.
Oh my
So
gosh.
if you're one of those people that watch the resin videos, like my wife, she loves them, and or you like the spindle videos, yeah, come on.
I will say the funny thing is, like, so since we're talking about this, right? So these individuals here, they go and they'll buy up like old dumpster houses, right? And then they're like remake them, and they're all nice now, and they slap on the shiplap and the barnwood doors, and they hang mason jars from the ceiling and all this other stuff, right? People don't realize now that the property tax you're about to pay on the house is going to be insane. It's like, and then your neighbors also, their property tax is gonna be a lot higher. But people like, they can't afford these houses after they've made them. Oh, and then I know all kinds of secrets about them and their company and all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. Well, they're like, they don't have that TV show anymore on whatever TLC. They have a new TV show. I don't know what it's called, but I know it exists. But anyway, so that's enough. Let's talk about toys.
Do they hide dead bodies in the floorboards?
No, they just don't pay for the goods that they procure from other local companies. Like, oh, I need 18 trucks full of sod. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm not paying for that. Like, that's a thing. That happens.
We have a TV show. Don't you know who I am? You should provide that for free.
There has actually been a conversation between myself and the lady home renovator. She was upset because I didn't want to talk to her. She said, "Don't you know who I am?" And I said, "Yeah." And then I walked away, and she got real mad at me.
You got to do it in the right voice. Don't you know who I am?
in that Karen voice. No, we were out to dinner or lunch one day. My wife wanted to meet me there's a really good Greek place here, right? So we stopped by, and we were going to eat outside. It's nice outside because it was like springtime or whatever. And she was sitting outside. I was like, "Oh, I'm going to go grab some ketchup for, we get these really good like feta Greek fries." So we go inside, and the lady, I mean, I don't know why I'm not saying her name. I mean, should I not? Are you going to bleep out their names? Or everybody probably
don't
knows
say it. Everybody knows who it is. You've already said the name of the TV show. Everybody knows.
All right. Well, maybe you can edit
allegedly.
That out
just say allegedly.
You could just voice over with just random home makeover TV show. And
not happening.
Okay, so I'll do it. I'll record that for you, and you can edit that in. So the lady, she had a big old hat, like she's going to the Kentucky Derby, right? And like every time I would walk by, she was meeting with like a couple. I'm assuming that they wanted to like get a house all whittled together or whatever. And every time I walk by, she would like tilt her hat down and like cover her eyes, like so I wouldn't like talk to her. Okay, and I walk by like 3 times. I was like, "Oh, get ketchup." And I go back out. I forgot a straw. I forgot a fork. So I walk back in, and so every time I walk by, she like tilted her and covered her face. And the last time she did it, and I just kind of like stopped. I leaned by and I was like, "Hey, I know who you are, and I don't care." And I just walked past, and she got the brightest shade of red. It was the funniest thing ever. And I wish I had the guts to have said more to this woman, because I honestly didn't care.
I know who you are, and I don't care. Like Jimmy Crack Corn.
Yeah, and then I just started dancing.
In your flip-flops. I don't have feet prisons on.
You don't know if I might have had shoes on at that time. I was at work.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, enough of the barn doors. Too many barn doors, too many barn doors, too many barn doors. This week, lots of things to bring you. We got a great interview coming up with Johnathan from Smeye World. I got to remember, I can't say Smee.
Right,
I'm so
man.
used to saying it. You guys all thought it was Smee. You're all dummies. It's Smeye World. So
we were corrected multiple times.
Multiple times?
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, maybe. I feel bad. Well, he doesn't really care because he hears it all the time. And I'm sure we're not the only ones to do this, but it's Smeye World. Great interview with Johnathan. Really appreciate him taking time. We'll get to that later in the show. And then we have our top 10 pops we've had and regret getting rid of, or whatever we're going to call that name.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah. So, but before we get to any of that this week, a couple of topics that I wanted to discuss. And the first being pretty much what we had alluded to a little bit before last episode. Funko is going to fix the bots. I want predictions. San Diego Comic-Con exclusives come out on the 23rd, I believe, in the morning. Do you think, and I would assume that this means this is the rollout of the anti-botism. Do you think that this is going to be a colossal disaster, or do you think they're going to have success with it?
I think it's funny that you called it a botism, because I was thinking it will be a botism in fire because that is not going to be a good situation. I can almost guarantee it, mainly because if like the whole all the San Diego Comic-Con stuff, that's in abundance. I can almost guarantee that there's not going to be any shortage of anything, because most of the stuff is also available at retailers. And yeah, you might get a fancy sticker if you get it from the Funko shop, but and there's certain things that are going to be there. But along with all the San Diego Comic-Con stuff, they're also going to be releasing Princess Unicorn. There is going to be problems there. I can foresee that their whole server is going to crash again. We're going to see that nice 503 error, or we're just going to get stuck on the shipping screen again and it not be able to populate our address, because this is just not going to be a good situation for anybody.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know what it's going to look like. It's always a roll of the dice, it feels like, when these things happen. And I'm not dissing Funko here, but it's like we said before, and we've said countless times, say it again. If Nike and Adidas can't beat this, and they can't, no matter how hard they try, then Funko is for sure not going to beat this.
No.
So I'm anxious to see. I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of angry people come July 23rd, 2020, ready to explode. We'll see. Let us know what you guys think. Do you think this is going to be a colossal disaster or a amazing success?
Can you just tell me why they thought it would be a great idea to just bundle in Princess Unicorn with all the San Diego stuff? Can you come up with a good argument?
My horn can pierce the sky.
Like that horn's going to pierce all the bots and they're just going to be dead forever? No, Funko, you are being dumb. Why don't you release it the week before or the week after?
Yeah, let us know what you guys think. Twitter and Instagram at Pop Alliance Pod. Email us direct, info@collectorsalliance.com. I had a little stroke there. And then you can message us on Facebook, facebook.com/Pop Collectors Alliance. I would like to close out the bot session here with simply saying, if you guys, so I'm not, cover your ears, earmuffs. This does not apply to people who are using bots to buy themselves one or two things, or using bots to support others and help others. This applies to the people that are just, scumbags.
They're buying 719 of something.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Everyone else in the world has the wool pulled over their eyes. I'm sure I know that that's not everyone, but a large portion of it. These guys have created, and kudos to them. I'll say kudos to them. These guys have created their own economy. So I'll break it down. I've sort of broke it down in pieces before, but I'll put everything together here. They have created Discord servers that give notification pings to all of these sites. They have Discord servers that tell people to buy things so they can control the market. Everything that we said at the beginning of the show. Go back to the beginning. Listen to the evolution of what we said bots were going to be. Listen to how we said that the market was going to be destroyed because of the secondary market, and see where we are now. And then you'll be like, wow, those guys nailed a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm not patting my own back here. I'm just telling you, we have experience. We've seen it, and it's come to fruition. Now they sell memberships on Discords, right? So they make money by selling memberships of these Discord items. They also have bots. So they sell spots for people to buy things. And people are going to say, oh, Rick, if you can buy one, that's fine. I'm not complaining about that. If that's what you want to do it.
If you want to look it up, you need to look up easy checkout or simple checkout.
But my point here, as I take a drink of water.
What's your point, sir?
My point is that they've created this economy. I get to charge you to join my Discord server, like our Patreon, patreon.com/Pop Collectors Alliance.
We're not scumbags, though.
You can get on Discord, and it's a great place. I can charge you then for individual spots to be part of my bot service so that, and you don't always win. I get that. Then I can charge you again indirectly by giving you affiliate links to these places when items release. So I make little money, but I make money. Then I can create bots that you buy, and then you buy the bots from me directly, of which I hold a limited number of bots. So I can control the demand and the supply and demand. Some of these bots are thousands of dollars, people, because they make people thousands of dollars. They limit the market, but still, you're charging people for all of that. And then everybody here's like, you think that the surface layer here is just, oh, well, I can't get any exclusives. No, that doesn't even crack the surface. This is a well-oiled machine that has been doing this far before Funko, that has now joined the Funko train and is charging people at every corner, because if you can't beat them, join them. That's what we say sometimes. But
if you can't join them, beat them.
You sell your soul to that market, which kudos to them. They made a lot of money. So it's not just surface layer anger that you hear from me. It's more in depth of, they've created this and people are going to be, well, you know, good for them. Good for them. Yeah. But it sucks.
Well, I mean, I'm just going to say it took me like 3 months to buy a motherboard for my computer. Do you know why it took me 3 months? Because all these guys, there was a shortage of MSI motherboards because of all the COVID-19 stuff. And then MSI had this really big recall. So everyone is, short on inventory. And then MSI basically had to pull, I don't know how many thousands of units off the market. So when they caught wind of this, all these dudes on these bot servers, they went and bought up every motherboard they could find, every gaming motherboard, right? So if it's something that's decent, you're not getting it, okay? So the only option you're left with is that, these guys then turn around and they sell it on Amazon, because they can actually they have a receipt for it, so they can put it up on Amazon for basically any price they want to. And, what would have been $130 motherboard is now like $260 or $300. So any motherboard between like $80 and up to, I think it was like $200, you're going to pay a premium for. So I basically had to get on a waiting list from this, it's a smaller electronics retailer. I had to get on a waiting list. There was 400 people in front of me waiting for motherboards to come in, just to give you an idea of how high a demand this was and how just like garbage it is for these people to be buying up computer parts like that for just to make a pretty good profit, honestly. But I mean, like, can you imagine, like, what if you were like a college, for instance? Okay. And like, okay, I'm running a department at a college, which I used to do. Okay. And we needed to upgrade 200 computers in our like 5 labs. And we needed high end stuff because we're doing like video rendering, so they were doing like game development or something like that. I'm basically stuck because I cannot buy anything because of these people who are basically just being greedy, right? Because they see an opportunity. And I get that. You see an opportunity. And right now it's kind of hard because everybody's trying to make money however they can. But it sucks, man. It's just, and it's not just it's literally everything. It's toys, it's computer parts, it's blenders, it's waffle makers, swimming pools. Like, you name it. If there is a market for it, then people are going to buy it. Starbucks, the cups that you could buy at Starbucks, they are buying those up and reselling for like $80. Those tumblers. Did you know that?
Yeah. So I heard something about it. I'm in those circles a little bit.
It's just so dumb. It's so crazy, man. But I mean, like, it makes it difficult. And just price gouging altogether, it sucks. And when you have, a large group of like 200 people that are all collaborating together to really, like you said, control the market.
It's even more than that, dude. At this point, with all the people out of work, it's a larger percentage than what you would think. You'd be surprised.
No, and
it's thousands of people.
I get it. I mean, I understand it, but
no, there's no way to get it. I mean,
no,
I get people that want to make money.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I understand that, like, times are tough, right? We're living in the Dust Bowl, but it's just like, it's one thing if you're doing it with like toys because it's not like a necessity, but when you start doing it with stuff that people actually need, you know, to run businesses and things like that, that's where I have a problem with it.
Yeah, I agree. And to close this out, I just want to end this with this. I think eventually, if this continues to progress the way that it is, and we're getting to blenders and household items and anywhere where they can, because it's opportunistic, right?
Underpants.
It's lower pants on face. If it's identifying where you can create a false scarcity and ratchet it up. And the government, just like with the hand sanitizer, there's people that bought all the hand sanitizer in like Oklahoma or wherever it was. The government's going to crack down on it, dude. They will crack down on it. They can ratchet that up because some of these people, man, if they could go to the supermarkets and buy the milk and put them in mega coolers and then sell the milk for $300 a piece, they're going to do it. They would do it, man. If food was scarce, they would be the ones buying it up and then selling it to people. So if you're a scumbag guy, you suck, but kudos to you for finding a way to really rob everyone of their money.
Dude, the guy with the hand sanitizer, he had 18,000 bottles of hand sanitizer, and a bunch of things happened to him. Like Amazon, they did something to his account where they like back charged him all this stuff, and then the government did something. What was it like? Was he sued by the federal government, or he like was fined?
They confiscated it.
Okay, it was confiscated, but I think there's like pending legal action. I don't know, who was it, like FTC or somebody?
I don't even know if they reimbursed him either. It was like they were brothers. Yeah, and they just went in. I'm just telling you. Yeah.
It was in Ohio.
Entrepreneurial spirit or in being a scumbag, there's a thin line, and I'm just trying to bring that to light. Is that it's just gonna happen? It's just gonna happen.
Oh my God. Oh,
yeah. So the last topic is this week, Captain Howdy Bim Toy Tiny Ghost released. It's the first time in a while, and I talk about it a little bit in the interview, but it was the first time in a while I was kind of like ticked that I was ready for something and I couldn't get it. Just like a couple weeks ago, or was it last week? Maybe last week or the week before last. When you went into checkout, every time you went to a screen, and it's different for everybody, has different stories. Some people had to only do it 4 times. I had to do it 10 times because I went in to do Apple Pay. Apple Pay failed. So when I went in to do PayPal, I went through and every screen again, and then PayPal failed because I went to go, and you know where you go to the PayPal screen and you click OK, and then it takes you back to checkout. It didn't take me back to checkout. It took me back to the screen where it says added to my cart. And then I added to my cart and it says, we already have one in your cart. And then I came back and then did it. And finally it went through, clicked the buy button and it says, oh, this item is sold out. So that was the Paradorable release. And the next day, the item sold out in 5 seconds. I actually like planned to leave a meeting I was briefing at work and go outside and try to get it. Didn't get it. Then they said they were announcing it again, releasing some at 12:30 because they canceled bot orders. But I couldn't go back out after that. It was too late. So congratulations to me not getting it.
I will let you know that the sellout time, the official sellout time, was not 5 seconds. It was 2.1 seconds.
So they're probably, I would assume that the Paradorable release was like 250. They only had 100 on the regular.
This is what I'm not getting, man. Like, I'm okay with the fact that Bim Toy does this. I have a problem with releasing all of your stuff to your Paradorable members before public sale, because that just seems like a little bit like It's a little shady. So basically saying, hey, we have this item, but unless you're a member, you're not going to buy. And I mean, that aspect I necessarily don't have a problem with, but I don't think you should be giving your entire stock to that pre-sale. And then people who are not members thinking, oh, I'll have a chance, because they send out mass emails and say, hey, this item's going to go for sale at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you're here. But in all reality, there's only 10 items. And you're not going to get it, especially when there's bots out there that have the ability to check out in 2 seconds. You're never going to get it. So it's a little bit of like false advertising at that point, especially with the previous release. What was the last one that they did like a week or two ago?
Dude, to be honest, I can't remember. I know it was coins.
No,
and then they had
after that.
I don't remember.
Well, whatever the last item was, I was talking to some people in the group and basically, it was the Barely Dead Hot Heat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not BIM Toy really, but kind of BIM Toy.
Yeah, it's sold by BIM Toy, but yeah, that's barely available. Jason Rowe, who's an awesome dude, he makes these cool bears with like skeletons, and it's the last Barely Dead that's going to be put out, and then now they're going to change the look or whatever. So it's kind of big, and it was a really limited release. I think it was like 150 items or something like that, somewhere in that.
I think it was only 100.
100. You're right. So it's 100. I was talking to a couple people, and it looked like they sold every single one of them at pre-sale, and there was zero stock when it went up. So
yeah, but it's hard for them. It's hard for.
Is it hard to say
barely available?
No, what I'm saying is that's fine if you're going to do that. One, I don't think if you have 100, I don't think you should be doing a pre-sale on it. I think that should be either you should not make that available to the public. It should only go to Paradorable, or you need to have 25 that are going to Paradorable and the rest of them are going to the public. It's a lot easier to do that with something that's like 300 or 600 pieces, but when you have something that's 100 pieces, and then when it goes up, it immediately sold out. And what I was reading in a lot of different like Discord groups and stuff like that, people were saying no inventory went up. It was a 0. So, or it was either a 0 or it went so fast that they couldn't read what the inventory was, which is crazy because it only takes them a split second to figure out what the inventory is. So something happened there, which I'm a little salty about that one because I collect Barely Dead and I missed it. I forgot about the Paradorable drop and I was like, oh, I'll get it. I'll get on the next day. They couldn't have put that many up. No, there was it literally went up and then it was sold out. Faster than you could blink. It's insane. But I don't know. It's a crazy situation. And I completely agree with you on the frustration point with like the website kicking you out. And that's been brought up to BIM Toy, but the response seems to have been
it's Shopify's fault.
Yeah, it's the problem with Shopify. Well, it actually seems like it's a misconfiguration and it's not keeping you logged in. You're getting kicked out because the login is either timing out or it is not saving your login state. If you're going to be like more on the technical side, but it definitely,
maybe it's something to battle the bots.
Maybe it could be, but it's also battling people trying to buy stuff because
it's give or take though, right? I mean,
well, there's
ultimately it's like we said, it's you're never going to get to a perfect state.
No.
It's just not possible.
No, but when you're talking about security, right? So that's my background, right? So when you're talking about security, you want to implement the least amount of security that still allows you, or excuse me, the highest level of security that still allows you to perform your job functions adequately. So when you have something that's kicking someone out of a website 10 times, you are over securing something. You're making it too difficult to perform these general functions. So you're not doing a great job. So something needs to be reined in. And I get it. That's fine. But the thing is, that whole like check out the like, maybe it's to prevent bot stuff. That's not going to do anything with the bots because they can immediately log back in a split second. So that doesn't do anything. Just like CAPTCHA. I mean, you can, those guys with bots, they can pre-answer CAPTCHAs. So it's like there's not there's no way to adequately do this. This all goes back to what we were saying. If Nike and Adidas and Foot Locker and all these other people, they cannot prevent this, companies that are smaller, like, you know, BIMToy and even Funko's not a small company by any means, but it's just like there needs to be a balancing act. And I think the balancing act for, you know, these BIMToy releases, it seems like that it's tipping, and it's not a good tip.
Well, I think two parts to this. One is BIMToy is a small company. They're not going to be able to afford anything like that. But the main point in that is that they're at a point in their creation of a product where if they do 1,000 of an item, it doesn't sell out.
Yeah,
right.
Right.
But if they do 300 of an item, they know that it's going to sell out. I think they said there's like 2,200 people in the Paradorable Society or something. They gave something around 2,000.
Yeah.
And then that's 2,000 people trying to get things on every release. But for them, it's scarcity that they've created in a sense of what is the true demand for their product. And if you look back, there's not a lot of their products that sell for more than 3 times value. It is just out of everything that they made. Normally the normal sales is like 60, I would say $50 to $80.
Right.
And I don't know if that's enough to warrant it or how bots jump on it and what that demand is for those products. So they've got to figure out some middle ground. I don't even know if that exists. To me, it was nostalgia because it's the first time I've actually cared about a release. This is a tiny ghost that I really wanted because I love the Captain Howdy thing. Not only because it's a Ouija board, but because Exorcist and Dee Snider's movie, I forget what it is, where they use Captain Howdy, both great movies and great horror movies. So it was really cool to see that they gave it that name one, and the design was pretty amazing. So let us know if you guys missed out on Captain Howdy. Again, social media, shameless plug, info@popcollectorsalliance.com is our email, at Pop Alliance Pod, Twitter and Instagram. Message us directly on Facebook, facebook.com/Pop Collectors Alliance. Now we get to the big topics of the show. Our first thing, 10 pops that we've had, we regret getting rid of. We each have our own list. We'll go back and forth. These are some items. To me, it's very painful to go through this list because a majority of my items were sold to support the building of my Game of Thrones collection. And I think by the end of my list, you guys will know the pain that I experience every time I look at this. This is a very painful, and I'm being honest here. This is a painful list for me to put together because of that reason. And this is something where I was ready to quit Funko over just because I had given up so much value, and I've had friends tell me you shouldn't have done that. And I agree. It was something I'm passionate about. I still love my Game of Thrones collection, but when you look at what I got rid of to get it, and then you see the items like Bloody Brianna Tarth that was $300-400 and is now barely breaking 100, and then Gold Dragon Daenerys, which was $600-700, barely breaking $100. It is soul crushing to see what you got rid of to compile that list. And I feel fairly certain it'll eventually climb back up. I would say when George R.R. Martin completes the book series, it'll get there, but you'll get to where we're at. So Piper, I will let you start with your number 10.
Number 10. Mine, so it's an easy one that I could still go get, but it still makes me sad to think about it. But it's Big Daddy from BioShock. I think that is like one of the coolest figures that Funko has made, just because it's so like, it's a very imposing design. And for some reason, I had a case of them. There's a long story, but I had 4 of them, and I gave them all away. I didn't even sell them. I just gave them to people. And now I look back and I was like, dang, that thing's like $60 now. I don't want to spend $60 to get it back. So that would be my number 10.
Yeah, that's definitely an awesome pop. And I remember you giving some of them away.
Yeah.
So
we were at Geek Fest in Killeen. Yeah. I just like handed them out to people. I was like, hey, sign up sign up for follow us on YouTube, and then you can have this Big Daddy. And I gave them people, and now I'm like, oh, dang it. Dummy.
So one of the themes on this list for me is Batman. So I'll start with my first Batman that I wish I would have held on to, and that's Conan Batman. So I was on a trail to get all the Conans.
That's an expensive trail.
And it's weird. What made me derail from that was the fact that people would go and buy them. They would sell them for hundreds of dollars, and then they'd fall down in the $50 to $70 range. And I just didn't have the patience to wait every year and then look at something because I have OCD and not be a completionist on it. So I did get rid of Conan Batman and the original Conan releases. I wish I would have kept that Batman because it is a Batman, and Batman and Spider-Man are two of the pops that I really like for comic book characters to hold on to. So I did get rid of it. It's not that expensive now. It's like $180, I think. But yeah, definitely sad I got rid of that. So that was my number 10.
Number 9.
So
I like the Disney, and I was looking through, and I realized that I got rid of my Alice in the Teacup ride, and I don't know why or when that happened, but it is not in my collection anymore. And it's another one. It's like $50 now, and that thing's giant. I don't want to have to pay like a bunch of shipping on it to replace it. And so that's just a weird one. I was just like, hey, where'd that go? I know, because they were shipped to you. So we traded somebody online for them. And I don't know what happened, but I know I had it in my house at one point, and now it's just gone. I think some gremlins stole it.
Dude, it's the underpants gnomes.
Dude, they just wanted to ride that teacup.
Yeah, I have a couple in my garage, so I can just, if you never find it, just let me know and I can send you one. But
you want to send me one because I'm be living down the street from you.
I'll still send it to you via my car to your house.
I'll just drive to your house and go.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I did like that one too. It's great. It's a great Disney.
It's a cool ride, man.
Yeah, I do enjoy a lot of those Disney rides that they do, the park exclusives. But they overproduce them now.
Yeah.
In the beginning, they had a good amount, but just remember, folks, nothing that they produced is vaulted. So, wink, wink.
Ever.
Number 9 for me is another Batman. Big surprise, Harvest Batman.
I love that Batman, dude.
I love the color scheme of this item. Halloween themed. It was released on the Funko Shop. I had it for a long time. I did trade it away for other pop. I can't remember what it was, but I wish I had it back in my collection. It's not overly expensive to get it, but again, I do regret getting rid of it. So Harvest Batman, my number 9.
Number 8.
Number 8
is the Flocked Cowardly Lion. I just recently got rid of that. I don't remember how I acquired it. I did some kind of a trade, a little bamboozle. And I had it for a while, and I'm not a huge Wizard of Oz fan, but it's one of those. It's like, it's very iconic, and it is not really the easiest to get a hold of, especially one that's in really good condition. But I ended up trading my Flock Cowardly Lion for something. Obviously it didn't matter that much because I don't remember I know what it was. I traded that and a Donald Duck, like an original Donald Duck.
Was that Raul or Kavika?
Neither. It was another.
Oh, I thought that's where it came from.
It was another patron. Well, I got it from Kavika, but I traded it to another patron for my Rey Mysterio, which I really had that Rey Mysterio, but just thinking back now, since I have a lot of movie pops, that's one that I'm like, man, I want to get it. I will get it back at one point. I want to collect that whole Wizard of Oz set just because they're so cool. And that's probably going to be the hardest one to get. So
my number 8. Now I could have made these items separate, but I decided to put them together for the sake of time.
No.
Beavis and Butthead. And very painful because I've had them twice.
No, then you can't be sad because it's your fault for losing them twice.
Well, here's my reason. Okay. The first time I had them, they weren't in the best of shape. So then I
Did your
tried to
kid
trade
smash that one in the door too?
No, not that one.
Okay.
Thank God. I traded them in which one was it? What's that Comic-Con in Austin? Oh man.
Wizard World?
I can't. Which one? No, it wasn't. No, not Austin. San Antonio. That's the one.
Dang it. What is that called?
Yeah, I can't remember. But anyway, Alamo City Comic-Con.
There you go.
There it is.
Yeah.
I traded them away. I traded for them at Alamo City Comic-Con. Originally, they had damage, but I was like, okay, I'll take them. Then I got a second set. Butthead was in great shape, but Beavis was not so great. These are an item I did trade away for, because at the time they were worth like $70 and $80. So I traded away for, I think it was Flocked Ghost. And
that's a cool trade though.
Yeah, it was. Now Flock Ghost isn't worth anything, and Beavis is
like
worth
nickel.
like $180, or Butthead's worth $180, and Beavis is worth like $200. So definitely painful. I don't care about value, but I do care about giving up value for no value. And yeah, I just wish I had Beavis and Butthead back. So that's my number 8. Number
7. All right. I feel very upset about getting rid of all those Attack on Titan pops I got rid of, because, sir, those things are shooting up in value, like unbelievably. I'm not 100% sure why that occurred, but now I'm like on this anime kick where I'm like starting to watch a lot more anime, and Attack on Titan is like one of my favorites. And it was just one of those things where I was like, well, there's other stuff I'd rather get. And if I really want these, I can get them later. I didn't think they would go up, because at that time they were kind of like creeping down a little bit. So I ended up trading them away for stuff. No, I'm stupid. Now I got to go back and find all those. That's a sad day.
That's because this is the last season, but
yeah,
you know how everything goes. You never know when it's going to bounce up or bounce down.
I'm hoping they drop again, man, because that's one of those that I'm like, I don't care. I don't care how much. It's just, I can't bring myself to spend tons of money.
My number 7 is Hobgoblin. When the collector series boxes of Marvel Collector Core were really great in the early days. This was in the year 1 box. It's when Funko went above and beyond, and they realized that, hey, we're losing money on this. We can't do it. But Hobgoblin was in that box. I really wish I didn't get rid of it. I can't remember what I did. I think I might have just sold it direct or put it in a mystery box or one of the Patreon boxes. But Hobgoblin, my number 7.
Was that the one that mystery box like $100?
It was the Collector Core box that was $100, but it was well worth it.
I didn't want to. At that time, I was like, $100. What is that? And now I'm like, oh man.
Yep.
Stupid. I missed that
show.
one. I didn't get that. I'm a big Marvel guy too, and I missed it.
Number 6.
Oh my gosh. You know what? I'm not a big Batman boy, right? But my number 6 is a Batman.
Which one?
Unmasked Batman from Target. This
That was like one of your first pops, right?
Towards the very beginning. So what happened with that was this was before Target was like actually actively carrying Funko. Like they hadn't even set up their end caps yet. And I went into my Target every single day for like a month because I knew they were coming out. And I would ask them, where are these at? Where are these at? And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, look, it says you got it in inventory. Find it for me. And they were like, I don't know. I don't even know what you're talking about. So this went back and forth. And finally, I got a person that was like competent. One day I went in and I was like, hey, look, I'm trying to find these. And it looks like y'all have them, but nobody knows where they're at. And they're like, I think I saw that box in the back. So they walked to the back and they brought it out and they're like, here you go. And they just hand me the whole box. Like, that's not Target anymore. Now they're like, they scold you and they like spit in your face if you try to buy more than one. At least that's how my Target is. And so they just handed me the whole box. I was like, oh, can I buy them all? They were like, sure, I guess. So I just took the box to the front. I was like, here you go. I want all of these. So I bought them all. And you know what I did with them all?
You gave them away.
Gave them away to people.
Well, we put one in the early days of Cost Plus Shipping. I remember that.
I know. And I think that was my last one. I was just like, oh, I don't care about Batman. And now I'm looking back. I don't even think it's that much. Like I could probably go on eBay and get it, but it's just like like the effort that I put forth to get those, and then I just gave them all away. So I think that's a reoccurring like theme here, is just like Piper giving things away. Now he's sad about it.
My number 6 is Batman along the lines, but it's not the character Batman, but Bane. I had Bane a couple of times. Again, this was one of the same scenarios where I would sacrifice and get one with a little bit of damage. I wish I had a pristine condition Bane once again, because that is my favorite movie. I know a lot of people go with the Joker, but Dark Knight Rises is my favorite out of the trilogy, and I really like Bane as a character. I just wish I had that pop back.
That's a cool pop. I've never owned it because I'm not a big Batman boy.
Number 5.
This was a sadness that just recently struck me, and I can't feel bad about it, but I have a number 5 of the Red Hades chase. And do you remember the story of this, right?
No, actually I don't.
So that was, we recorded a podcast, and then at like 3 a.m, you'd text me and you're like, hey, Hades is up. And this is when, like, Hot Topic would actually sell out of things online. So we both ordered them, and I ordered like 5 of them because I was like, I'm going to get this chase. That was like the first chase. I was just like, I have to have it, because I wasn't like, I cared more about like specific pops. I didn't really care about the chase. Like if it was, whatever. But this was like one of the coolest chases, right, I've ever seen. And I don't know why. It's just the blue one, but he's red. And so I got those, and I did a video for it, and I pulled like 4. It was 3. No, I pulled 3 chases out of like 5 pops, right? And then a listener had heard, before we put the video, a listener from New York who randomly we ran into at the HBO shop when we were at New York Comic Con. He talked to me, and he just mailed me one. Like, he was just like, you want to do a trade for like a shirt from the show? I was like, yeah, sure. So I shipped him a shirt, and he sent me one. So I had a total of 4 Hades chases, and I think I sold one of them. We did one as a giveaway, and then I had 2 more. Well, it turns out I think I might have given one of those away, and I had one, and I gave it to Brandon because I traded him for some stuff he picked up for me. I don't even remember what it was. So I was like, hey, do you want this? Because I got an extra. Well, it turns out that was my last one I gave him. So I just like gave away my last one, and that's like one of my favorite chases. So I was just like, oh,
strong sad.
I screwed up.
Yeah, those things, it's a regular occurrence. I mean,
I'm not good at keeping track of things.
Yeah. But it's still, when I've done it, I think everybody's done it. I think that mine was the FBI, the Burt Macklin. Mm-hmm. I think we sold it by accident at a convention, because I just brought it there to show people, maybe even show you. And then I think either Tiffany might have someone inquired about it, and she just sold it, but it got sold. So, blah. But it didn't make this list. Honorable mention, though. My number 5 is Spider-Man Japan, the one in the Blu-ray.
Oh my gosh.
That was a very painful one. These are the next 5 are all along the lines of me going to Game of Thrones. So Spider-Man Japan Blu-ray.
I remember when you sold that.
I sold it for the purpose of buying Game of Thrones stuff. I sold it at a convention to a nice guy that always supported things that we did at conventions, always showed up, always bought Spider-Man for me. Sold it to him. I think I even might have tried to sell it to Justin, but you know how Justin is with boxes.
Unless it's a perfect 110% box, he's not touching.
We're the same way. I've compromised a lot, but I feel the pain. Like I always want the perfect box. Unfortunately, I got rid of it, and yeah, I wish I had it back. Now all of those Spider-Man are like over $1,000.
I mean, it was still pretty high when you sold it.
It was like $500-600.
That's still a lot, man.
Oh yeah, but now I wish I still had it. I wish I just had my entire Spider-Man collection. It's decimated. Strong sad. Number 4.
So my number 4 was the blue Bigfoot. I had it and I loved it. And then I made the decision that I needed money. So I had to let it go. And so I sold it. I think I sold it on eBay or Mercari. Like, it wasn't even anything good. I just needed money. I just wanted to pay off bills and I let it go. And now, I honestly didn't know that I had the brown Bigfoot until I was packing my room up to move. And I found it behind some other stuff. It was like in a weird spot. I didn't remember putting it in. And I found it. I was like, oh man, this is cool. And I got the cool Loch Ness monster. I was like, I wish I had the blue Bigfoot still to go next to him, but I don't.
Yeah,
It's expensive now,
those
too.
were the ones where I got a lot of them. I don't know if I got you your brown. Did I get you your brown Bigfoot?
No.
I know I can't remember which ones I got for you, but I know that I got a bunch of the blue ones.
Yeah, because you kept going through the line at Funko HQ.
Yeah, because, well, I mean,
They weren't capping
there
it.
were people, we gave those away. I put a lot of them in Patreon boxes, of which we had a complaint on, why did you put that in my Patreon box? You're welcome now.
Yeah, it's like $200, right?
Yeah, and so frustrating, I guess, to say the least for me. The Myths line, the only ones that I wish I had out of that now are the Loch Ness Monster. I was unable to get either of those, so it doesn't matter.
I'll trade you the glow in the dark Loch Ness Monster for some Freddy.
Don't have enough Freddy to give you.
It's always those are going to be the response. You know that, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the same one for me. Number 4 for me is Batman again.
Man, all you want is Batmans.
Batman. Well, I've had incredible Batmans. Batman, the blue variant from 2010, San Diego Comic-Con, with those big old round San Diego Comic-Con stickers they had that year. That was the first year.
Was it?
I did have it. It was the alternate variant that year, but yes, the blue Batman for 2010 San Diego Comic-Con.
I don't know if I've ever seen that before. I don't care about
that.
Batman.
Was in my early pop days. This is before, I think, even before we met.
Huh. Oh, that's okay. Cool.
Way back in the day, number 3.
Number 3. All right. So number 3 is something that I ended up giving you. And I got I love the trade that I got, but it's still one of those things like, man, I wish I had that too. Like, I wish you would have just given me what I got and I didn't have to give you anything. But
yeah, thanks. You're very, I hope people hear this tone in your voice.
It's not a tone in my voice. I'm just saying, I wish I had both of them, but it's Freddy Wise from Fun Days. So I traded you.
Of which everyone in this area, let's just put it out there. Mm-hmm. Everyone in this area got one of those except me. Like, all of our patrons from Texas ended up getting that. I was the only one that did not get it. But you got a hell of a deal on that one.
Yes. So I traded you Freddy Wise for the Freddy Sting, which everybody knows I'm a huge wrestling fan. So I had to do that. Like, there was no not doing that trade, but it's still like, now I'm in this like kick of like, collecting Freddy's. And that's one of those. I was like, man, I had it. And then, I traded for it. And now I wish I need it back. So
I think Freddy's Sting is over $300 now.
Yeah, he is. But you know what I'm saying though? It's like, if you're trying to complete a collection, which I'm never going to complete the Freddy collection. I do not have that kind of money. I will never.
That's money right there,
bro.
Son.
Like, when you got like some pieces in there that are like $6,000, it's not ever going to happen. But it's a nice aspiration. Maybe if I win the lottery, I'll be able to do it. But it's still a goal to get a lot of them. I'd like to have a lot of them, and that's one that it's on the radar. So it'll be coming back to me soon enough.
For my next 3, I don't really want to elaborate because it's painful. Red Eyes Frieza, number 3.
Just no Game of Thrones.
Golden Red Eyes Frieza. Gone, dumped into a Game of Thrones collection that is worthless. That's it.
Maybe it'll go back up.
Number 2.
My number 2 was Twisty, the clown from American Horror Story. I don't even remember what I traded that for or why I thought it was a good idea to get rid of it. And I greatly regret that now. I also regret not trying to finish American Horror Story, because now most of them are worth. I mean, they cost a decent amount now. So that's one of them. The Unmasked Twisty, I think that's what it was, from San Diego.
Yeah, they had that one, and I have the regular one. I don't have a box for it, but I have the regular Twisty.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I sold it or traded it, or I know I didn't give that one away.
My number 2 is probably my second favorite pop I've ever owned. Spider-Man SDCC 2012. Another one of the Spider-Man sold to the same person that got dumped into my Game of Thrones collection. But yeah, that was the smaller circle SDCC sticker. Spider-Man SDCC 2012. It was metallic.
I was gonna say, that's the same one that's in the Japan release, right?
Very similar, yes.
Yeah. All right. Number 1. My number 1 is a recent. And I regret selling my New York Comic Con Mandalorian for 2 reasons. 1, if I would have held on to it for a couple weeks, I could have made more money. Number 2, I'm not big into Star Wars, but for some reason, there's like, you ever get like an itch and you're just like, I want to do that. Well, I kind of have this itch of like, man, I want to do all the Mandalorians and all of the different like stormtroopers from Star Wars. I don't even like Star Wars, but for some reason, I like the helmets. So I want all them helmets. But now I'm not going to get that again because I'm not going to pay $500 and whatever, $20.
Yeah, it's like almost $600.
Is it? Like, yeah. So I think I sold it at like $480. And now I'm just like, man, unless I trade a bunch of stuff or sell a bunch of stuff in Mercari, it's not coming back to me. But who knows? Maybe I can catch a deal on it.
I feel that the universe is out to punish me for something I don't even know what I've done, but I honestly sell stuff, and as soon as I sell it, it skyrockets in value. As soon as I put it in a Patreon box, it goes up $100. Dude, it doesn't matter what it is; it just happens.
Are you talking about your?
And then everything I keep,
are you talking about your Mandalorian?
Decreases in value. My Mandalorian I sold it for $300 or something.
At least you didn't sell it right off the bat for like $100.
Yeah, I'll take that, but I'm just saying, like, in general, sometimes I'd like to be able to keep that stuff and do auctions and things like that with it to support what we do rather than just selling it for half of what it's worth now. Or
you could be a dummy like me and not sell your Metallic Children of the Forest, and it was once worth $800 and now it's worth a nickel.
I told you to do that.
I literally was going to do it, and then HBO Shop released them a second time. Oh, I smashed my head into the wall. I was so mad. I was getting up that morning to take photos and put it up online, and I lost all of it. I don't even want.
You lost $800.
Lost. Well, not really. I mean, we bought it for $15.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, my number 1. Everybody probably already guessed it. It is the secret word for the podcast this week.
Grenade hands.
Planet Arlia Vegeta, or Aurelia or Arlia. We'll just say both of them. But if you put it, email us direct, info@popcollectorsalliance.com. info@popcollectorsalliance.com. Planet Aurelia Vegeta. First person to do so wins a PCA prize pack.
Are they gonna win a PA Vegeta?
No, they're not. Piper always jokes about this.
I haven't joked more than anything. In a long time, though.
This one makes me sick to my stomach.
Oh, for sure.
Like sick to my stomach, because there were items that I needed to get to finish the Game of Thrones, and I was down to the finish line. So I needed the HBO glow in the dark White Walker, things that were around $700-800. So in order to meet that requirement, I sold this to get these items, the high dollar items, going right into the last season like a freaking moron. And I don't have it now. And now it's like just going up even more.
You know what I think you should do?
So what?
I think you should go and sell your entire Game of Thrones collection and get Freddie Lannister, and then just be happy with it and be done. And never think about Game of Thrones again.
It's like $2,200 now. I think
you
for the 196,
you could probably sell your entire Game of Thrones collection for at least most of that.
I would say right now, where I am with it, it would probably be worth close to that.
There,
because I did get rid of some of the bigger pieces. when I saw the chips falling apart. Right. So, I mean, not all my bigger pieces, but some of them. I mean, like Rinley Baratheon, dude, I paid $325 for him. And he went up to like 400 something. Now he's like $100. $100. It is, dude, it just talking about it gets me depressed. This list just made me depressed.
You know what?
Completely.
That's just like, okay, so again, big into Disney. You know how super excited I got that Mr. Incredible, that original Mr. Incredible. You know, he's $55 now.
Wow.
He was when I got him in a mystery box, he was like 200 something, and now it's $55. I don't even understand it. I'm so mad.
It's just like people pick what they want. Let us know what your top 10 is. Let us know. info@popcollectorsalliance.com. Remember, the secret word of the week, ladies and gentlemen, is Planet Arlia Vegeta or Aurelia Vegeta, whatever you want to call it. I've heard it called both of those. I'm not saying one is right or wrong. I'm sure there's people that are going to be like, right here, it's trash. But that is the secret word this week. Email us info@popcollectorsalliance.com. Also, Twitter and Instagram @PopAlliancePod. Share it, please, please, please share that with your friends. We need more and more and more followers. Get behind us, do what we do. We are just fired out of a cannon this week. And again, facebook.com/PopCollectorsAlliance. We are going to end this episode with an interview we did with Johnathan from Smeye World. This is probably going to be like an hour and 25-minute episode.
Longest ever.
Yeah, it is. It is. We kind of rambled at the beginning, but it's what we do here at the Pop Collectors Alliance. And if you like what we do here, go to Apple Podcasts or wherever podcasts are available. If there's an availability for you to rate the show, it takes 2 seconds. We know that we have a lot of people out there. We have 136 reviews on Apple Podcasts. If we could just get to 150, that would be great. So you can go search for Pop Collectors Alliance on Apple Podcasts, scroll down half the page, click on the little stars. The 5th star is where we want you at. If you love what you hear, if you don't, just don't rate and review us.
Go away, please.
But we appreciate everything that you guys do. We appreciate the support of our patrons. Again, no Piper's Price game this week. We will bring it back next week. We'll inform the person a little bit earlier this time so we can bring them on and play the fun in the sun. And then one final parting note, if people have listened to this point before the interview, our fan of the week is, we call him Clayton J here at the PCA. Congratulations, you are the fan of the week. We will announce that on our Facebook page, the official Pop Collectors Alliance group. Woo! So congratulations to you, and congratulations to everybody who participated in the charity auction. We will be providing Caleb with the money this week, early next week. If you haven't paid already, pay now. I'm going to just say that. Plain and simple. If you're listening to this podcast and you haven't paid, pay now. It was a great event. It just brings back all of our auction days. Maybe we'll do some more of those in the near future. But thank you guys so much. We raised over $1,000 in that event, which I didn't think we would ever get there. Piper just kept throwing stuff up.
Well, we had to hit that. I wanted to hit that 1,000, man. I was surprised that we did it too.
Yeah, I want to thank Keith. Special shout out to Keith. Special shout out to Prado. Special shout out to Robin for all putting up items and donating. Thank you guys. And if I missed anybody, I don't know if anyone else put anything up, but Piper and I put things up too. If I missed you, thank you. Thank you so much for the support. Now, please sit back and relax and enjoy an interview. PCA exclusive details in this interview for you guys. It's a shortened version here for the podcast, but if you want to hear the long, and it was an hour-long interview. If you want to hear the long form interview, you can become a patron today. It's Patreon exclusive full-length interview with Johnathan from Smeye World. Go to patreon.com/popcollectorsalliance and enjoy. All right, everybody. We are here with Johnathan from what I've been calling, what Piper's been calling, what I'm sure 50% of everybody else out there has been calling Smeye World for the longest time. But it is Smeye World. Johnathan, welcome to the Pop Collectors Alliance.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
We're glad to have you. He took some time out this week. getting hit by cars and everything else out there. But we're glad to have you. Sort of a free form interview. Piper's got some questions. I got some questions. We'll go back and forth. Let's start with, how long have you been collecting and what made you turn collecting into sort of a business form?
Well, I guess as far as how long have I been collecting toys on a more serious level, probably now like 6-7 years. Wow. Maybe more like 5-6 years. It started with me, I guess, more figure wise in terms of like rapid figure buying was Amiibos. I'm a super big Nintendo guy, and I just love those things, man. Even to this day, I have a bunch of them, and I'm not as active. Like the last 5 or 10 or 15 that have come out, I don't have, but I have almost 100% set, and I just love Nintendo. And I started collecting a bunch of other kind of weird, rare Nintendo, like some limited DSs or some bags, stuff like that. And through that, I'd been acquiring definitely some Funko Pops, but it was more limited, and it was more like accentuation or maybe like a video game character like Mega Man. I had like the gold Mega Man that was, I think, GameStop exclusive. And then, through that, I just kind of, I guess, got more and more into Funko. And then at some point, I think everyone that collects has that moment where you realize like it goes so far beyond Barnes and Noble or GameStop or like finding these chases or, the community and stuff like that. And that's what really, once I just saw kind of the Facebook groups and everything like that, I guess that's where I transferred more to Funko. And I don't know, I guess it just kind of naturally progressed into becoming a business, I
think one of the crazy things that you talk about, Nintendo, we just did an episode where we said that what's Funko never going to get a license for, and we're fairly certain Nintendo falls in line with that.
I would definitely say that, if you're going to call one license that that they've been not desperately, I guess, but, Brian Mariotti has said many times that they have hit Nintendo up, and I don't know, maybe Nintendo has some other agreements with other companies in the US. I'm not exactly sure why that they're not getting it, but I would say the only crack in that armor is the fact that, Pokemon seems to be now coming out in pretty regular affair, and, Nintendo owns some stake in what's that company I'm thinking of that does the Pokemon stuff?
Pokemon Company?
Yeah, but then there's like Games Freak or so. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's Games Freak.
Yeah.
They're the one that do the video game side of it.
Oh, okay. Well, Nintendo has a big stake in that. So I don't know if maybe that's not correlated at all, but it would be pretty cool to see. But I would say that is a pretty safe bet, is one that seems to be on lock.
So some insight on that is we have been told that one of the big hurdles is Jakks Pacific, since they have essentially what is a master license for Nintendo.
And they do like World of Nintendo and stuff, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought it was. I'm like, I bet you someone else has, this kind of done this deal with Nintendo and has this like master license type thing that's preventing, which is really kind of a shame, because not to say I do like some of the World Nintendo stuff, and I had some of it, but it's a shame that it would nix it from so many other companies that could be doing like wild stuff. And just for that, and that's where licensing can really, sadly, prevent a lot of really cool things from happening.
Yeah,
it's complicated.
Exactly. Yeah. And with Nintendo, you don't see a lot of free form. It's kind of cookie cutter mentality with all that stuff too.
Since we're talking about collections, let's go into Johnathan, sir. What is the one most prized piece of your collection that you possess? The one thing that just makes you super happy to look at, and you could never let it go.
Overall, it's my Ugly Doll set. That was the one thing that I've got so maybe one of the 1 of 48s, if I were to choose one piece, I guess, the metallic Ninja Baddie.
That's awesome. It's funny because I have some of the original Ugly Doll plushes on my curtains hanging up. So that's awesome.
Oh, nice. Yeah, the Funko, the Pops specifically, I have a few other cool Ugly Doll things. I've actually been collecting these, like, I've got one back here. these like kaiju ugly dolls. They're like these little Japanese
Those are so
old
yes,
bags. They're hard to find, these older kaiju, this specific series. And I do like them a lot, but the pops specifically, how the ugly doll and the pop meet, I honestly think it's just like quite a perfect figure for me. I don't know exactly why, but they're took me probably at least over a year to like track down the full set. And that's why it's kind of a fun one too, because they're not as in demand as some of the other extremely rare Funkos. So yes, they're still hundreds of dollars, but they're not completely out of reach in that like multi-thousand range, but they are still just as hard to find to even purchase. So it kind of, it's a long, fun hunt unless you apparently find someone with all of them or something.
Right. Well, that's definitely an unexpected answer, and I like that.
Definitely one of the most unique ones we've had. But I got a couple questions talking about being a small business in this realm. And we talked a little bit before we started recording some of the struggles that you get. But I kind of want to sort of expand that once you decide to turn this into a business. And I think that we here at the Pop Collectors Alliance, we share some of the pains. But what would you say specifically concerning just overall business? What was the biggest eye opener for you when you turned this into, sort of selling to customers as a small business?
Well, I think just to sum it up is reality is just, that hits at some point in general in many facets. But I think you have to almost be slightly naive to start it, right? Like the dream and like these kind of far out ideas of like, you get a little bit lost in that. And that gives you like enough motivation to actually get it off the ground or, build it into something, whatever it is, this little tiny website or this little tiny this, or, but you've invested either your time, money, energy, whatever it is to kind of, okay, we're really going to do this. Like we're going to form this, LLC, or we're going to, it starts getting down on paper that this is actually happening. But then once that gets put in, motion, you really start to see that this is going to be insanely difficult, at least in my opinion. And it depends on where you're at. It depends on, some people have luckier rides than others. Some people, it's just timings. There's all these factors that go in, but I don't think even if you're successful, one of the factors that is always still remains is just constant hard work and still, seeing it through. So I do think that the beginning is quite difficult.
I agree. And as we go down this line of questioning, as we at the Pop Collectors Alliance, fellow proprietors of mystery boxes, what are some of the craziest feedback that you get from selling mystery boxes? Because selling mystery boxes in and of itself comes with controversy always. So throw some of the most common complaints or big things that you see with mystery boxes, problems, etc.
Well, I think probably the common complaint can be certain times that people don't quite maybe read thoroughly. It's definitely one of those things where I would still advise on anyone buying mystery boxes that thoroughly from anywhere, thoroughly read the description, thoroughly read that from a trustworthy source, all that kind of jazz that we all kind of talk about. But I think sometimes, obviously, the expectations when buying a mystery box is going to change how you're going to treat the retailer afterwards. And so if you fully know that, yes, I have this risk and the reward is within this section, and the risk in loss is, guaranteed to not lose everything, but maybe losing something, and you kind of have that laid back and you enjoy yourself, then it's not so bad. But if you're really thinking you're going to just pay $50 and get a, $400 Freddy Funko every time you buy a mystery box, and that's your attitude towards it, it kind of like sours the whole thing. And it's, not very fun for you because you're already almost expecting. It's nice to get something nice when it's unexpected, right? But if you're like, oh, cool, yeah, I was supposed to get that Freddy, so you might not even enjoy something as much when you actually receive it. But I don't know. I feel like with us, we do try really hard. We're constantly trying to understand that it's like people have put in their hard-earned money, they're buying this, and I want to make sure that these guarantees and different things to where, of course, it's expected. I can't just put 55 Tony the Tigers in every single mystery box, but you can do certain things to care for the customer and look out that you just still got, hey, that was a pretty fair shake because I signed up as well, you know?
Piper and I have always said that your all's mystery boxes, even with the descriptions and disclaimers, like you may lose here or there, but generally you guys put together a great mystery box. We tout it as one of the better mystery boxes out there. Even like you said, you have to realize that you're going to win, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some, etc. But I think we both agree that you guys do an excellent job on that. And sometimes, like you said, people have out of this world expectations. And then the last question, how in the world do you diversify so much? Because in the beginning, you guys sort of had, you know, what you were getting for Funko, but now you add Protos to your mix. You have the Smycon and all of this diversification of your product line. How have you been able to grow?
Well, I think the diversity for us, some of it comes just out of passion of being toy nerds, basically. And I'm still going on my own journey kind of as a collector and everything every day. I'm still buying pieces for my collection and, you know, doing different things like that. And so as we do that, you know, you stumble into different things in different areas and say, oh, this is really cool. I enjoy this. And then certain times it's like, well, there's no real logistical way to bring that to Smeye World, to bring that specifically to the shop or something. So, but sometimes there is. And I guess I'm just constantly trying to just put things up that I'm passionate about because I feel like that's where I'll be at my best. And hopefully it's just things that people vibe on as well. But most of it's just because it's stuff I like and I want to have. I mean, plain and simple. It's like, those are cool. I want to have those. Will people buy those if we have them? Yes.
I feel like it's just an excuse. Like you need to buy a case of these things. And well, I have a case of them. I'm just going to take one for myself.
Well, and we have, I think some of it now is panning out, but I've put hundreds of dollars into certain things where flat out, I knew this is not a profitable idea, but it's something that I just want to do. And that thought alone it's very powerful because it can bring you straight into the ground, but it can also bring you what, you know, starts to eventually make you unique and original and passionate about what you do. And at some point you got to get off like this, hey, I want to have pickled eggs. And it's like, well, Bob, no one's buying pickled eggs. You know what I mean? It's like, well, we should buy.
Eggs are delicious.
Well, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like, hey, Bob, let's buy 100 more. And it's like, no, dude, like we got to cut it out because we'll go under.
Too many pickled eggs. It's
exactly
a problem.
And so you've got to have some balance and think logistically and what's going to sell and what's going to do this. But if passion and logic can align in terms of what you're trying to set out to get and do, then I think that's where some uniqueness can come, you know?
I have a garage full of pickled eggs, just so you know.
You're currently sitting on a lot of pickled eggs.
Well, so early on in the days of me going to conventions, because I've been a Funko collector for a really long time, and then mostly like you, kind of turned it into a business there for a little while, and then just fell into the podcasting thing. But early on, we're not Amazon, we're not Hot Topic. You're not sitting there buying thousands of an item. So you're always trying to figure out, hey, you know, can I supplement this? Would this be good? Do people want to buy this and that? And then we were like, oh man, everybody loves Star Wars and everybody loves Star Trek. So now I have like 13 boxes of like the new Star Trek pops I still have that just sit on the shelf. So it is very hard. I feel your pain there. But again, I think I kind of went away from that and then focused on things that I liked. You know, it actually works out better than just trying to decide what you think everyone else is going to like.
Yeah, I think you start with what I like, and then, you know, in terms of asking yourself that, and then you have to turn that back around and say, okay, is this something that I think the community will like? And oftentimes too, you want to trust your own self on what your tastes are and stuff, because at least, you know, you can trust that. Like, it's hard to guess what the community likes. Like sometimes I'm just blown away by certain things where I'm like, oh man, this is really going to pan out. This is just dope. Like everyone's going to love this. And then another thing where I'm like, oh, this is like, all right, I hope it works out. I'll cross my fingers. And that's really the one that everyone's like going nuts about. And I'm like, wait, what? I thought this was going to be like just my prediction. So sometimes you can really read fandoms and stuff are weird, man. I mean, it's weird when certain people show up for something that you just wouldn't think. And it's like the diehards. And then other times you think this is maybe some mega thing that people are totally have a broad audience and it's going to really pan out. And that's the one that seems to not be as warm,
To fizzle. Yeah.
I want to know about your customs because a lot of people really dig them. I'm one of them. I'm not a big guy and I'm not like, I'm going to buy customs from people, but the ones that you have come out with are super nice. So like how did that whole side of the business start?
Well, honestly, it was like from inception. I can still remember like sitting at the kitchen table, just having this idea of like, how cool would it be to have customs, but in a way that was much more like this clean run retailer, not so much this like commission, style or single piece style where we do these like little mini runs. And so the early renditions of the Smeye customs, I hooked up with these two guys, they're twins, the Gamer twins, and they had been making some really cool customs and they only lived a couple hours away. So I was basically commissioning them, but I was, doing all the design stuff, and they were resin casting these Funko customs, which are, were really good and really cool. That's kind of how that first stuff started kicking off, but it was something that I was seeking out. Like, I want to have this. I think it would be cool. And again, that's one of those things now you look at where kind of the Smeye customs are today, and you had your 5, 10, 15 people back in the day that saw that this was really cool, but it wasn't widely like, this is really cool. So we did sell most of all the runs that we did and stuff, but it wasn't like in seconds, or it wasn't, super quick or super known or anything like that. And then basically like mid project, these guys, it was just really weird. I mean, it was like we were right in the middle of a project. Everything was fine. I had just seen them and stuff like that, and they just dipped out. Like, I still to this day haven't even heard from them.
What?
Oh my goodness.
Not even nothing. And we had done like 1, 2, 3. I mean, I'm looking around the room. I mean, because I got, single units of a lot of them. I mean, we did Krusty, Tony the Tiger, Biggie, all three of the, cereals, orange cereals, Frankenberry, orange. I mean, this was like a year-long relationship. Wow. And they're nice guys. I don't know exactly what happened. Like, we'd always get pizza together and talk designs and like, this and that. And then they'd show me kind of proofs and like all this stuff. And it was really fun and it was really cool. And yeah, they just went totally AWOL, like right in the middle of everything.
Did they do the snatch thing? Like, and Brad Pitt and Snatch, the whole the traveling gypsy thing, they all just disappeared. You went there like, hey guys, what's up? And they're just gone.
Yeah. And so I had taken pre-orders. So we did the, orange cereal monster. My brain's a little messed up. I just got in a car accident and I've been doing all this SmyeCon stuff for like 90 million hours. So we did the Ad Icon, Freddy Funko Ad Icon series, and the second two, they had become more popular. So Count Chocula and the Frankenberry one, we had done like 40 units of, or maybe 25 on one and 40 on the other. But the Orange Blueberry was very early. I think it was only like 8 or 10 units or something like that. And we marked it that it was like LE10, but so many people were like, hey, I have these two. Like, I really want to complete the set. And we said, okay, well, we'll do something like just a bow tie or something in the crown to make it like an official, at least, there's a small variant, but we'll remake one little run of these so people can like complete their sets and stuff. And I had taken pre-orders on it because that's a lot how we used to work when we did the customs with those guys. We'd get a proof and a full glam of like, this is a fully painted done one, and the rest will be done kind of 4 to 6 weeks kind of thing. And so I had taken all these pre-orders, and that's when they dipped out. And so my other friend, Rombitz, who's working with us now, he's my good buddy. Like, we've been friends way before Smeye World and all that kind of stuff. Really talented guy. And I was like, yeah, man, these guys dipped. And he's like, oh no. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have to like refund all these customers, be like real embarrassed about it. Like, I don't know what to do. And he was kind of like, well, I could take a stab at it. And, he definitely, I knew, already has artistic talent and all this different stuff, and had worked with resin in the past. I was like, I don't know, what should we do? So that's what we decided to do. And so he kind of reversed engineered, the one that had already originally been made, because this was like a second run thing. And since then, he's just been in the pocket here ever since. And it's really just kind of the serendipitous thing, because he's really my close friend. We work together. He's really talented. Like, I'm super happy that he's kind of on the squad. He does all the, Smeye graphics and stuff. So, he has been some way, shape, or form close to me as a friend, but also close to the business as well. So it wasn't just like he kind of waltzed in not knowing anything about what we do and stuff, and had been, around. And so now he did, the Joker and some chomps and a few of the last maybe 5-10 ones we've done.
That's awesome.
One of the things, Smeye World, you guys you've done customs. You nail mystery boxes, unless you're me and I get a Master Roshi every single time.
15 times.
But I know the game. I'm not cutting you guys down. I always like to say it. But as you
that is harsh. I mean, I would feel if I got 15 Master Roshis, I'd be like, I don't care how good they are. I can't handle one. One more, I'm out.
The funny thing is that I had just ordered Specialty Series, and I ordered a case of them, and then I got those right after that. So I got 51 of these things now. But as you progress as a company, what do you guys have in the pipeline at Smeye World?
So Rombitz has been doing a lot of the great customs, and then he designed basically, the process of it. He designed a 2-dimensional figure in this 2-dimension realm of art, and we worked together, and I helped get that sculpted. And so we got that sculpted, and then got a prototype back, and we're doing, some casting from that. And so first, it will be kind of some limited run figures of this character called Giddy is his name. You'll see more about it in the next coming weeks. It's just kind of starting its final phase into at least seeing its first appearance, fully painted appearance kind of thing. So that's been really exciting. But yeah, we're constantly kind of looking at new ways to be, I would say, creative. And ultimately, as a retailer, we're retailer at heart of the core of what we do, but we also we're creative people that want to do creative things and find a way to viably create kind of at the same time,
Yeah, and you guys heard that first here. An exclusive. All right, awesome. Well, thanks again, Johnathan. We'll get you back on. I'm sure once the cons go back up, we'll be seeing you at a Tiny Ghost party or at one of the conventions. So
yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. I'm always down to
clown.
Meet up in the digital realm, or one day maybe back in the real realm.
All right, you want to give any plugs? Where can people buy your products? Where can they go if they don't know about it?
Smeyeworld.com, SMEYEWORLD.com, or at Smeye_world on Instagram, or Smeye World on Facebook.
All right, you heard it first. A PCA approved small business here. One of the best mystery boxes in the game. If you do get a chance to go over there and support your small business and Johnathan and Smeye World. Until next time, I'm Rick.
I'm Piper.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
All right, everyone. We hope you enjoyed the interview. We hope you enjoyed the episode this week. We will be back next week. We're going to try to get some Patreon exclusive episodes out there. We'll have the long form interview and then maybe a snack attack next week. We'll see. We got a top 10 of the what was it? The Always Sunny in Philadelphia pops that you should be made once they make them. We're hoping that that's the truth. Can't wait. You guys, until next time, I'm Rick.
I'm Piper.
Good night. It's 2:05 in the morning.
Oh my gosh. It's time for bed. Let's end this.
I love you.
Bye.